Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If this is the first video you're seeing of me, thank you so much for coming and watching. I make a lot of college videos. I'm going to Stanford University next year. Hit the subscribe button to keep up with my life before I go to Stanford, when I go to Stanford, and to watch more of my college application advice videos and just college advice videos in general. So for today's video, it's going to be really exciting. I'm going to be revealing where I got into college besides Stanford. So where I applied, where I was admitted to, and where I did not get into. So the summer before my senior year, I still didn't really have necessarily a top choice. Throughout my junior year, I was touring a lot of colleges in the Northeast and in the Midwest, and I actually didn't tour any schools in California when I was applying. I had originally really wanted to go to New York, and when I went to New York, I toured Columbia and NYU, and both of those just didn't really seem like a fit for me or somewhere that I wanted to go. And so in the summer before my senior year, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go big and pick somewhere that's just like a really top school that would be really awesome to go to. And so, you know, in my mind, I was like, the top schools to me, and I wanted to pursue something STEM related, were MIT, Princeton, Harvard, and Stanford. And of those ones, to me, Stanford has more of less of a competitive culture. It's, you know, has more of that collaborative environment. California is a lot nicer weather, something that I would, you know, preferably like to be around. My family lives in Hawaii, so that would be closer to them. And it just seemed like more of a fit for me from the other ones. And even though I had not toured any of those four, I was going to apply to Stanford early. That started to become where I really wanted to go. So I knew that I wanted to apply to Stanford early, and basically, since Stanford is a private school, they are under the restricted early action, so that means that I could apply early to Stanford and I could not apply early to any other private institution. I could only apply early to any public schools that I wanted to. So I also knew that I really wanted to apply to the University of Michigan College of Engineering. They have a really good engineering program, and I actually toured University of Michigan and I really loved it there. It was super nice. I love the culture there, and that was a public school, so I could also apply early there. The other public school that I knew I wanted to apply to was the University of Texas at Austin. That is kind of like the best public school in Texas, and if you're in the top 6% of your high school graduating class, you are able to be automatically admitted academically into UT Austin, but that does not mean that you're going to automatically get your major. But I knew that I was still going to apply there, and I knew that I would get in for sure, at least academically, even if I didn't get my major. So that's really all I knew at this point. I also knew that I wanted to apply to the University of California at Berkeley, and I wasn't really interested in any of the other UC schools. I knew that I wouldn't really get a lot of money from public schools, so that's why I didn't apply to places like UCLA or UC San Diego or other places like that that are good schools. I wanted to kind of try and focus my energy on private schools because that's where I felt that I'd be able to receive the most financial aid and probably where I would end up going in general. October came around and I submitted my Stanford application, and then shortly after that I submitted my Michigan application. I actually didn't send my UT Austin application until a while because in my head that was kind of at the bottom of my list. So I actually don't remember the specific order of when I got into Stanford and Michigan. I think that I got into Stanford first. I got into Stanford on December 8th and I was so happy. Like, literally, this was my dream school. And as I was going through the whole application process, I kind of just wanted to go there more and was getting more excited about it and just really wanted to get in. I put all my energy into this application, and throughout high school, even though I hadn't had my heart set on Stanford, I had my heart set on one of those top schools. So I had worked really hard throughout high school to get to this point. And then I got in. So then shortly after that, I think probably either late December, maybe early January, I was admitted to the University of Michigan College of Engineering. And I was really happy about that too. They have a super good engineering program, and they're one of the top public schools in the nation. To me, Berkeley is the top public school in the nation, and then Michigan kind of falls shortly after that. So after I had gotten into these schools, I was kind of done. I knew that I wanted to go to Stanford, and I didn't have an interest in applying anywhere else. I think by this point I had submitted my UT Austin application, but I didn't hear back yet, and I honestly didn't really care that much about it because I had gone into Stanford. So for UT Austin, I applied to biomedical engineering, which is one of their more competitive majors. I think engineering in general is probably one of or the most competitive that you're going for at UT Austin, aside from biology or pre-med majors, and also comp sci. I don't know if that's considered engineering there, but those are kind of the most competitive majors. But I didn't care that much about getting in there because I knew that I wasn't going to go, but I just wanted to have it in case because I had not received my financial package from Stanford yet, and I didn't want to be in a situation where I didn't have anywhere to go if that didn't work out. So my parents still really wanted me to apply to Johns Hopkins University because they have a really good biomedical engineering program, but I didn't really want to apply there. I honestly thought I had no chance there because I'm more of like I don't know, I have a lot of certain things going for me as an applicant, but test scores and like AP scores and subject tests, those things are like not my strong suit. And for Johns Hopkins, especially for biomedical engineering, those things were more important. They said that they highly recommend that you have a math and science subject test, and I did not have those. My ACT was kind of on the lower side, especially for this competitive of a program, and they just seem more to be like score heavy and to have that more like competitive student culture, so I didn't think I would fit in there if I did get in, and I didn't think I would get in anyway. They didn't really have a place for you to submit an art supplement, which was one of the main parts of my application, and I sent it to them anyway, but I don't even know if they reviewed it. So I was like, I don't really want to apply there, but my parents really wanted me to, so I just went ahead and applied there. So I applied to Johns Hopkins University regular decision, and the other school I applied to regular decision was the University of Pennsylvania. I wanted to still apply to one Ivy League, so if I hadn't gotten into Stanford, I probably would have applied to Princeton, and probably would have applied to Columbia, and then also Northwestern. So those were the three that I was going to apply to if I did not get into Stanford. So since I did get into Stanford, I didn't want to apply to really any of the Ivies. I wasn't that interested in them as much as I was interested in Stanford. But my parents still wanted me to apply to the University of Pennsylvania because they also have a good engineering program. And again, the same thing, so University of Pennsylvania, they accept all art supplements except for dance. So they accept visual art, music, and theater. So I was like, well, if they're not accepting dance, then that probably means that it's not that important to them, or they don't see value in it, or maybe it's, I don't know, I didn't think that was kind of a red flag or kind of a bad sign that was a big part of my application was me as a dancer, and they didn't accept that as a supplement. So I don't know, it just felt like they wouldn't really see value in that as maybe other schools would, like Stanford. Another thing was Penn Engineering is super competitive, and they also have the same thing as Johns Hopkins where they highly recommend a math and science subject test, and I did not have those because I wasn't really planning on applying to University of Pennsylvania in the first place. The main thing was for UPenn was that they didn't accept the dance thing, which was a big part of my application, and I felt like without that, I don't know, I would kind of be lost as an applicant and I wouldn't have seen as valuable. So if they didn't value that part of my application, I didn't really think I had a good chance. So I submitted those two applications, and then it was kind of a waiting game, but I was already really happy. I knew I was going to Stanford. I got my financial aid package and I filed for review after that. So I was kind of waiting for my final financial aid package, and I knew that it was going to be some good news to where I would be able to afford to go there. I visited Stanford after all my apps were done, and I just loved it so much. At this point, I was waiting for UT Austin, Johns Hopkins, and UPenn, and I was waiting for those for a while. I don't really know what order they came in. I think Berkeley was last. Yeah, so I think I got my UT Austin decision, and I had been admitted into biomedical engineering, so I was like, okay, that's great, that's awesome, but then I withdrew that, and I know biomedical engineering is a really competitive program, so I hope that, me withdrawing it will open up a spot for somebody else, maybe in the future, who wants to transfer in. And I got my Penn decision. I don't know, it's not that I felt bad about it, I just knew that, like, for Stanford, I felt like I had hit all the marks of what they were looking for, and for Penn, I felt like I wasn't really the right fit for them. And so the decision came back and I was waitlisted. So the last thing I was waiting for was my Berkeley decision, and for the longest time, like, Berkeley was one of the ones that I was like, I know I'm gonna get in here, like, I feel confident about it, I was confident about my essays. So the decision came in on March, like, 30th or 31st, and I was rejected. I was not even waitlisted, I was rejected, and I was like, this is so weird. And this is one of those moments where I was like, you know what, you just never know. So I also got my Johns Hopkins decision somewhere around this time, and I was actually admitted, which was super surprising to me, because biomedical engineering at Johns Hopkins is, like, I think they're, like, most competitive program. They also didn't really take dance, and I didn't have any subject tests. I just felt like I didn't have what they were looking for, but I still got in there. So, I got rejected from Berkeley, I got into Johns Hopkins, which were two, like, shocking decisions for me. So you just never know. Like, apply wherever you might want to go, because you never know what they're going to think of your application. I also received my final Penn decision. I don't know when it was. I think it was after you already had to come into college, I know. And then I didn't get off the waitlist there, which I wasn't really expecting, so I ended up getting rejected from Penn. So in total, I applied to 6 schools, 1 Ivy League in those, and 3 of them were public, and then 2 were private that were non-Ivy, and then I was admitted into 4 of them, and Stanford happens to be, in my opinion, the best choice of the 4 that I got into. And Stanford was also the cheapest for my family, and I think a lot of people find that Stanford is their cheapest option if they do get it, which is awesome because it's also probably one of people's best options that they got into. That was all my college decisions for 2018. I just wanted to kind of like let you guys know where I got in and stuff, and just encourage you to apply wherever you may want to go. Like just apply. Like you never know, you know, like stuff could surprise you, decisions could surprise you. And I got into Stanford, which was my like dream school, and if I didn't get in there, then I would have applied to more places. So, you know, definitely apply to your favorite place early, but then if you don't get in there, don't be discouraged, just keep going and you guys can do it. I know the college application season is just starting. Senior year has just begun if you're going to be a senior this year. Good luck to everybody. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment down below anything you want. Have you started your college applications? Where you're thinking of applying early, or you thinking of applying early to Stanford? And thank you guys again so much for watching and for supporting my videos and my channel. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.